for much more on MacIntyre's win. Let's bring the boys into the conversation. Mark Zecchino and Bob Weeks. Mark, starting with you, what impressed you the most about MacIntyre's performance?
I think really he spoke about it in the post round about all week, Adam. It was about his emotions. Did he have a little chat with his swing coach back home? Yes, it was mainly a tempo conversation. He thought he was getting quick, and when he was getting quick, that's when the misses were popping up. But more than that, he was talking about what he's been working on for several months now, and something he really wanted to concentrate on coming into this past week, which controlling his emotions. Not getting too high, not getting too low. And it's funny because on Sunday, I had the pleasure of calling every shot he hit for the last 36 holes for PGA Tour radio. And on the Sunday, when he made the big putt at 11, in my call, I referenced the emotion showed. I said, for the first time this week, we see a fist pump more reminiscent of Tiger Woods than Bob MacIntyre, because he had the full fist pump when that down. It's the first time we kind of saw that huge emotion. And then he goes on to make sloppy bogeys. And he referenced it in the post-round interview with me saying, I think I let my emotion get to me. He doesn't want to be too high. He doesn't want to be too low. He went through all the roller coasters of emotions, from a 4-shot lead that could have been 5 with one made putt on 9 or 10 to the lead squeezing down to 1 and having to make par on one of the hardest final holes I think we're going to see all year on the PGA Tour. So it's a great performance. Dad on the bag makes it even more special. I think we gotta convince Dad guys to give up the greenskeeping, the grass cutting, and full-time caddy again.
I love that you mentioned his father, and Bob, I want to follow up with you on that. This is just a really good, feel-good story for Bob MacIntyre getting it done with his dad caddying for him, wasn't it?
Yeah, and his dad was basically a last resort. I mean, he had gone through a couple of caddies, and he couldn't find a caddy who would sign on for just 1 week, which is what he wanted. So it was an emergency call to his dad back in Scotland, and he says, I'll fly you over. And they had a few issues getting him here, but they got here in time. And now to kind of go through and win a championship, your first championship, a national championship, and to do it with your dad on the bag. I mean, Hollywood couldn't write a story like this. It's absolutely amazing. And I think perhaps the best part afterwards was, Bob MacIntyre, is he gonna give the 10% that normally goes to the winning caddy of his prize money? We'll see. When I mentioned it in the closing ceremonies, his dad was standing by the side going like this. So we'll see what happens, but I think he'll get looked after, even though this is going to be a one-off, by the way. He will not be caddying in the future for Robert MacIntyre. He says he'll get himself a top-ranked professional caddy here and let his dad go back to enjoying his time back in Scotland.
Well, with that, his dad has a 100% success rate caddying, and Robert MacIntyre's pre-tournament odds on FanDuel were plus 8,000 or 80-1. And another reason I know you guys were both big fans of this victory, he was a lefty too. So Robert MacIntyre gets it done winning the RBC Canadian Open.